Welcome to another edition of Realities May Vary, the podcast that has no direction, no agenda, except to have a good time. I'm Brian Noonan. With me as always. Oh, wait, nobody's here. Let's address this first. Where's Cody? I don't know. I got a cryptic text from him a couple minutes ago saying, I'm going to be about 5 to 10 minutes late. Go ahead and start, and I will join you. So he says it's a long story. I don't know what kind of story it will actually be, but we will find out when he arrives. Until then, you and I will keep each other company, which we are fine to do. Cindy already jumping in. Hello, Cindy. Always one of the first to join, and I know I appreciate it. Cody does too. Lot to. I'm gonna put this disclaimer out at the very beginning. If talk of medical procedures triggers you, if it sends you into some sort of coma or seizures, or you have to run and vomit, please, by all means, parse this episode out in accordingly, because there will be some discussion of, one, why I wasn't here last week. That leads into what happened a couple days before last week's scheduled broadcast. So we're going to talk about a little medical thing. We've got Cody and I were at a beer festival on Friday, Beer Under Glass. You remember last week we talked to the executive director of the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, Roy Stout, and learned all about what was going to happen. It was fun. Now, we decided, Cody and I, that during the festival, we would post a few Facebook Lives. In hindsight, maybe not the best idea, but knowing this show the way you do, it was the perfect idea that we decided we were going to do that. So we started just recording stupidity. And as you can see, one of us got more and more goofy as the night went on. That person being our dear friend Cody Gough. He got a little bit crazy, but I will say this about Cody. He knows how to create the content. That's why he went a little over the top, I think. And he did it on purpose, which led to some people commenting in less than friendly ways about, oh, maybe we were, over imbibing, and maybe we should cut back, and maybe blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing. No, we weren't going to cut back. We were at a beer festival. We had both taken the train. I will say this right now. You know my disdain for public transportation. Now, I know that sounds elitist, but it is. I don't like public transportation. I never have, because I had to take public transportation when I was in high school to go from the far south suburbs into the city. I had to take either an RTA bus or a local bus to the IC. Back before it was Metro, it was the Illinois Central, the electric line. I had to take that train, then take a CTA bus down Roosevelt Road, and I always hated public transportation. Now, that being said, you want to hear elitist? When I'm in foreign countries, I enjoy availing myself of their public transport. When we were in Spain, their subway system I thought was very, very good. The tube in London is fantastic. You can get all around the city in pretty easy fashion if you know how to read a map, or you just aren't afraid to ask questions. But here in the U.S., I have not had the best experiences. So I was going to take, and we'll talk about the festival later when Cody's here, but this was all me. I was going to take the train because the event was in Union Station. Mike says he's jealous. Mike, I'm sorry you weren't able to go. It was a lot of fun. But I decided, well, it's right in Union Station, and I live about 3 blocks from the train that goes right into Union Station. So it would have been dumb of me not to go. Now, my wife couldn't go with me this time. She usually goes to Beer Under Glass because she enjoys that festival, but she's having some dental issues. And I haven't had dental issues in a while. I remember how much her head, she says, is throbbing. Long story, she got into the dentist. She's got to go back. A lot of things. She wasn't feeling good. She's like, I don't want to go, but I'll drive you to the train station. Now, I know you're saying, you lazy slob, it's 3 blocks to the train station. Yeah, but as we'll talk about, I've had surgery on my foot. So I thought, well, since I'm going to be on my feet at the festival, let's save some walking time and some waiting for the train time. So Debbie takes me to the train station. I'm waiting, and it's a flag stop. Now, I didn't know this exists. I don't know if you do either. You're supposed to just stand. You're just supposed to stand on the platform and wave like some, like, oh, please come and pick me up. Please stop and save me. And allegedly, the Metro train is supposed to stop and let you on. If they can see you, they're supposed to stop. I had zero faith that this was going to happen. I was proven wrong. They're making the announcement the train will be approaching in 2 minutes. And Debbie says, all right, go stand, like she was dropping her kid off at the train for the first time. All right, go stand by the yellow line so they can see you now. And I'm standing there. And of course, then I had to be a jerk. I'm like, should I stand really close to the edge and hang out? Shut up, she says. So the train stops. I get on. All right, I've got my ticket. I'm ready to go. I am not exaggerating. The next stop of this train is about 5-6 blocks. So we get to that stop, train stops, people get on, the train doesn't move. The train doesn't move for 10 minutes. Now, I've gone 6 blocks. This is not the way to really fly, Metra. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to be patient as I'm watching the minutes tick away on the clock, knowing, yeah, but that's exactly where I stop, Mike. That's my stop. And I'm trying not to. I hear some other people starting to complain, and in my mind, I'm going, I'm with you people. I want to really start complaining. And I'm texting Debbie furiously. Is it always like this on the train? Because I'll tell you what, if I had to take the train like this twice a day, I'd kill somebody. I was losing my mind via text. So she was smart not to be responding. At one point, she just said, welcome to train life. I'm like, well, that really helps. Thank you so much. It was the train ride. Finally, the train starts, and I thought the train was fast. I think I could have ridden my bike at the same speed that this train was going. I don't know what the benefit is other than gas and parking and stuff. Taking this train was nuts. The train is crawling along. We finally get there. The train ride home, Debbie had warned me, you're not going to be on the same track you were coming in, so you got to check the big board. She's like, oh, the big board. I don't think I've ever gotten on a train at Union Station. I think I picked somebody up from an Amtrak once, or I might have taken an Amtrak to Milwaukee one time, but that's it. And that was, again, decades ago. So I'm looking at the big board and I'm trying to figure out what line I'm on, because I don't even know what line I took into Union Station. So how am I going to figure out and I'm looking, okay, I see my stop. That's it. I get on, and this is for the train ride home. It must have been, and I wish I were exaggerating when I tell you it was 100 degrees in this train car. And I'm a little bit drunk. And I'm in a little bit of pain from my foot. So now I'm drunk, I'm in pain, and I'm sitting in an oven waiting to try to get home, anticipating that the ride home is going to be as tumultuous as the ride into the city. I'm sitting there, some other people sit down, and again, everybody in the car is going, oh my God, this is too hot. It's so hot. It's so hot. Finally, the conductor comes out, and I'm glad I like the fact that the conductors still dress like conductors. They have their conductor hat and all their stuff. So they come around, and he goes, you know what, folks, you might want to move up to the front of the train because it's much cooler up there. And by much cooler, he meant like 87 rather than 100. But when it's 187 is much cooler. So the ride home was fine, I think, because I didn't pay much attention. All I know is I was home. I got off at a different stop because they don't stop at the flag stops on the way home. Debbie was waiting, and I made it. And I vowed to myself, here's the thing. I don't know what to do because I'm not going to drive if I go to another beer fest, or when I go to another beer fest. I'm not going to drive because that's dumb. I don't want to take an Uber because now Ubers are like $700, and taking the train is just, horrible. I have to here's what I need to do. I need to hire a driver. And by hire, I mean, try to find a friend of mine who doesn't drink and wants to go to a beer fest. That doesn't sound plausible at all. I don't think I'm going to find anyone that way, but that seems to be the only way I'm going to be able to get downtown or get to another fest, because it was crazy. I don't know if you commute. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Like, I can't imagine being in that train if it's crowded and I have to stand up and then it's stopping all the time. And I know this is me just whining and being all first worldy, but come on. There's people on the train. They've got their feet up. They're listening to music. I wasn't in the quiet car. I don't even know if that exists. I don't know if that's a myth. I've heard legend of the quiet car. I was not in a quiet car. There's all kinds of craziness going on. And this was in the afternoon. This was like, I think the train was supposed to get it to leave at 4:20. I wasn't going to a weed convention, but I would have if it was 4:20. So that was the trip down and back. And the rest of the evening was very nice. And as I said, when Cody gets here, we will discuss that in its entirety. Pardon me while I take a wee nip of whiskey just to clear the pipes and get the mind flowing. That's what I've decided to do. I hadn't before the beer fest. I had not had any alcohol in about a little over a week, so that was good. A lot going on this week. If we were on I am on the radio. Here's a little plug, and I'll remind you of it later. I will be on WTMJ this Saturday. People are saying, "Hey, Brian, are you on TMJ anymore?" I say, "Yes, I'm on WTMJ this Saturday, May 21st, so you can listen then." But if Cody and I were doing a radio show today, we would have to talk about all kinds of current events, and I don't really want to because everything is horrible. All the news is just ghastly, and I don't know why we think that we're living in a happy place because we're not. Horrible tragedy, shooting in Buffalo on Saturday at a Tops grocery store. Now, I've been to Buffalo many times. I've shopped at Tops grocery stores. That doesn't put me in the mix for this, but I'm just saying it's weird when places that cities you've been to, those kind of tragedies happen. And I love that at first the news media was afraid to clarify that this was, yes, indeed, a racist attack. Of course it was. This dope, this pie-faced idiot, wrote like a 400-page manifesto on all kinds of replacement theory and all this other craziness. So call it what it is. It was not just a regular mass shooting. This was a racially motivated attack at a racially motivated killing. And once again, I always love that a white guy with an assault weapon who's killed a bunch of people just gets arrested. You tell me, is it weird? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just coincidence. So that is it. It says right there, Cindy, right on the big captions, from 4 to 6. I will be there from 4 to 6 on Saturday. So that was big. Then there was the church shooting in California by a 60-some-year-old guy who had a beef with Taiwan. So he decided he was going to kill some people. And there's shootings all over. We've got shootings here in Chicago. That's all. So the world's going to hell in a handbasket that way. Then babies can't eat because there's no formula. I empathize with all of these parents, and I feel awful for them who can't get formula. When Molly was a baby, she couldn't hold down anything. We must have gone through 5, 6, 7 different kinds of formulas. The doctor would be, okay, you got to try this, and it'd make her sick. All right, try this, try this, try this. And we finally found one, and I can't remember what brand it was or what kind, but I know it was very hard to find. And back then there was no Amazon. I couldn't just log on and order a kit. I don't even think, I'm trying to remember if we even had a computer when she was born. Probably not, because if she's that old, then I am really old. So we couldn't get the formula, but and it was expensive 25 years ago. Now, if you're a parent whose kids need these special formulas and you can't find them, there was a horrible story today. 2 babies dying in Tennessee because they couldn't make the adjustment from one kind of formula to another, and doctors are trying to figure things out. It's just, oh man, the world is a nightmare. And speaking of the world being a nightmare, there's the segue of the night. I'll wait till he finishes fixing his hair because he likes to look pretty for the ladies. Here he is, Cody Gough. Hi, Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody Gough.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. How are you?
I am late. You texted me earlier. You're like,
everybody.
We're going to podcast today? I was like, yep. And then like an hour ago, I was like, oh God, I'm
Work stuff. What happened? Things
Yeah.
come up.
There's a lot of work stuff.
A lot of work stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot to do after the show, but that's okay.
Do you? All right.
There's a lot to get to. I don't want to, but
there is.
I'll jump into my first thing just immediately.
Please do. Get to it.
You got to wrap up whatever you were doing.
Well, no, here's what I talked about. I didn't talk about the fest. I talked about my train experience. And then I talked about how the world is basically a shit show. And with all the shootings and the baby, you must be very excited that your son is eating prime rib now and not using formula.
Yeah. That's the thing. Well, and going on Twitter and other forms of media, seeing people don't understand. Like there are a lot of people that are just like, why don't you just breastfeed? And it's like, well, that's not how
it's not that easy. And that's not how it works. And so those people obviously don't have children.
I mean, I have a lot of empathy for them because, like, I didn't know anything about it until we had a baby. I didn't know anything about breastfeeding, but there is a remarkable lack of knowledge of the general public, and it's unfortunate, but I can't really blame them because where would you learn this stuff? It's not taught in school.
It's not. And then when you see, when women are arrested for breastfeeding in public because people think it's sexual, it's like, that's not what they're, it has nothing to do with that. And listen, I've seen plenty of women breastfeed. It's the most modest thing you could ever imagine. Most of the time you wouldn't even know. You just think they had like a loaf of bread under their sweater. It's like, oh, there's a human under there having lunch. Okay, that's cool.
Now, I've gotten in trouble a couple times for breastfeeding, but I produce Mountain Dew. And I don't let babies latch onto me. I usually let some small little cyborg cats. It's a very strange hobby.
Wow, you are out of your mind already.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I mentioned that we got a little pushback on our videos. Few comments that I deleted about our behavior at the beer fest, but that's really all I covered. And I told people that you were tardy, but you had a reason, and we knew you were going to be tardy, and you had told me to start. So that's all. That's where we're at.
Wait, what comments about our behavior at the beer fest?
Maybe we should cut back. Maybe we shouldn't drink that much. Things like that.
We had small sips of beer for 3 hours. What? Like, I wasn't hungover the next day.
Neither was I. I was buzzed on the train going home, but that was the train going home. And thankfully I got here and Debbie had ordered a pizza.
Oh,
I know. Because when I left, she goes, are you going to eat? I said, well, I don't know. I might get something. We ended up not getting anything to eat down there, even though we were looking at pretzels and people with tacos. We were like, And then we got back in line for more beer. But before I left, she was like, hey, I might get a pizza. If I get some, will you want some when you get home? And I said, yes, I will. So I had pizza waiting for me when I got here.
Wow. Maybe it's new listeners, viewers, because they if anyone's been following this podcast for any amount of time, people know how I act after one beer.
Right. And people, well, it wasn't directed just at you. It was directed at the two of us.
But people know how you act. I
know there were a few comments about me having one extra button undone. I had 2 buttons undone on my shirt. As I look back, I'm like, oh, maybe that shirt needs just 1 button undone. But it's like, shut up.
You know what I knew you didn't have waiting for you when you got home, Brian?
Tell me.
Is a meatball sub from Portillo's.
I didn't have that.
You know why?
Do they not make them?
My wife just informed me that on a recent trip to Portillo's, she was told, and there is not one on the menu, but she figured, surely you can get a meatball sub at Portillo's.
Of course you can, and don't call me Shirley. Good evening, everybody.
Of things that you would think, I can get this at Portillo's, other than like Chicago hot dog, maybe an Italian beef. Probably, I wouldn't even put that there. Yeah, other than Italian beef, the one thing that would spring to mind is I am sure I could get a meatball sub. Now, I have lived in the Chicago area for 15, I don't know, many years, over a decade.
Math is hurtful.
Over an decade. And I've clearly never tried to, But when it was brought to my attention, I told my wife, I said, this is now the most important thing to talk about on the podcast.
Yes.
How is it that Portillo's does not have meatball subs? What are they thinking?
Do they have pasta? I haven't been in a Portillo's in a long time.
Yes, they have pasta, and I have ordered from Portillo's, literally the downtown Portillo's on wherever it is. I have literally, when I used to eat there, I would order a side of just a meatball, and it was just a little styrofoam thing, and you put one meatball in it, and I would order that. So they have meatballs. They're an Italian sandwich place. How is this a thing?
It shouldn't be, because a meatball should be just a given. Like you said, if you're going somewhere to get, now I'm looking at their website. I'm looking at the pastas on their website, and I don't see anything that says that has a meatball in it. Yeah. Wow.
All right, hold on.
They do have Italian sausage with one of their, it's an option on one of their pastas. But yeah, I don't see, maybe meatball. Listen, as much as you and I love a meatball, perhaps meatballs were not selling.
No, but they still, I'm looking at the Portillo's. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Phone is held.
This Portillo's menu has meatball sandwich on the menu.
Which location?
I don't know. I just Googled Portillo's meatball, and it brought me to this PDF doc.
All right, let me see.
This is the catering division.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, catering might have it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All right. Well.
All right, I'm going to look at the one right by me.
All right.
Free cake on my birthday. That's very good. Beef and sausage sandwich.
Free cake on your birthday?
That's what it says.
I may have to rescind my story.
Award-winning ribs.
Portillo's takeout and delivery menu. Sandwiches. This is riveting radio right
Well,
here.
I'm just saying there are no meatballs on this menu. There are no meatballs.
I'm telling you, man.
Well, you can tell me all you want, but perhaps they used to have them and they don't anymore. Restaurants oft times go through and change their menu. So yeah, there's nothing.
All right, I'm gonna go to takeout and delivery
because they got rid of that lemon cake they had for a while. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Is that what you had a taste for when you came home, or was that just something your wife was trying to get you?
No. What's the zip code of Tribune Tower?
60611, I think. You know, they're celebrating their 100th anniversary this week.
I heard. I actually tuned into.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, just for like 5 minutes on the drive, and then I was like, I don't know. What
were they playing?
No, one of the hosts was talking to somebody. All right, so let's say I go to the Ontario Street one, and I click begin order.
Yeah, do it. Begin your order.
Search the menu. Meatball. Okay, so at the downtown location, you can get a meatball sandwich.
Is that right? Okay.
So apparently some Portillo's you can, but still, I would think it would be a core component of the menu. So my question still stands. How could a Portillo's location not have meatball subs? I don't understand.
It's probably because over the years, your suburban white bread Portillo's did not sell enough meatballs. So they probably just said, well, we're just going to sell meatball sandwiches at the locations that have a desire for meatball sandwiches. You know what I mean, Eugene?
Well, that's another thing that I have to bring up.
Yeah.
You said suburban white bread sandwiches. I've got to correct you there. They're no longer white bread sandwiches. They are, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you this.
Are you going to relabel them? Does the bread have new pronouns?
The bread has, I'm not going to be able to find it. My spouse was also recently at Subway, and now the preferred nomenclature is Italian Parmesan oregano is the name of their white bread. So I said, what if you walk in and you order and you ask for, and they ask, what bread do you want? And you say white. And she's like, well, then they give you the white bread because it's white. And that's what it is. But they put it on the menu to make it very fancy. She's like, none of the breads at Subway are fewer than 4 words now. They're all very,
really, and
very
all the bread. I
sophisticated.
don't care what bread you get at Subway; it all tastes exactly the same.
And it's all terrible.
Yes, and it's mostly cake. Do you remember that came out last year? That most of they were finding that I think in the UK and stuff that there was so much sugar that the bread almost qualified it as a dessert.
No.
Yes. Google it. I'm not out of control. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm done Googling. I've done too much Googling.
A lot of Googling.
Leaving people in suspense. Let's call it the Googling show.
I have not. I haven't been to a Subway in a long time. Probably for good reason.
You rode the Subway to get to the thing.
No, I rode the Metra. The way to really sweat. It was horrifying. Just horrifying. I don't know how people. I said this before. I don't know how people commute every day. If I had to commute every day, I would have either become a hobo, that's with a B, or a unemployed, because there's no way I could do that. No way. And you see the people, and I know there's people like Linda said she loved it. Oh, Sally loves the train. She just loves it. Not me. I know Debbie likes taking the train home because she can relax. She's not as stressed when she gets home off the train. So I get that. But just the, if you're going at peak hours, crammed in there with all the other yahoos going down to their, rats in a maze job, just to be toadies for the man. Maybe they are the man. But if you're the man and you're taking the train, what kind of man are you? And by man, I use the X-Club, the air quotes, the man, the boss, the bigwig, the boss bitch.
You're a man that's getting some tail.
Can I say this? You attract the ladies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I say that with all, like, Cody was very respectful and he was only talking to people about business or beer. But it was all ladies who came up and asked you questions after they saw us recording our little things.
We did have a few ladies approach. I was surprised by that. But my running theory about the Metra is that everyone that rides it daily is having sex with each other.
Really?
Every one of this has been my longstanding theory, because they're all packed in. On the way home, they're all drinking. Usually you take the same train because you're on a set schedule. So
and you see the same people.
Same people. You're packed in next to each other. So in my head, I'm shipping. That's the online terminology for like relationshipping. Like in your brain, you're like, when you ship 2 people, you're putting them in a relationship in your brain.
People do it with backstory for them.
Yeah, people do it with TV shows like what's the show you watch?
I watch it.
Are there any it'd be like,
are there any shows I don't watch?
Yeah, that's true. Are there any shows you watch that I know a reference to?
Boy, I don't know. What, you don't watch TV too much.
Breaking Bad?
Yeah, okay, Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul. Sure.
All right, cool. So if there was like a female character and like Jesse or like Saul, you'd be like, oh, I think that it'd be cute if they dated. Like you're shipping them, basically.
Okay.
So I ship everybody on the Metro. Like when I get on, I'm just like, everyone around me is having sex with everyone else. And it's just a nonstop because look, you're also
a nonstop orgy.
They're also really far from home, right? Okay, so you take the 8 a.m. Metro in every day. You see the same girl every day. All right, you start to talk. All right, cool. Next thing you know, you take the Metro home and suddenly you miss your stop and you go with them. And it's really easy to cheat on other people because you go home on a different train and then you're like, oh, sorry, honey, I'm working late. And then like the next thing you know, it's just like Desperate Housewives. Wow. So I've got a whole head canon, as it were, about Metra sex hookups, and I'm here for it. It makes my experience more enjoyable.
All right, I'm going to try that next time, because I remember back in high school, I didn't take the train all the time, but I took the train enough, and there were, like you said, same people, took the same train every day. They sat in the same seats, so God forbid you sat in their seat. Oh man, you'd get the stink eye, or they would actually say, hey, that's my seat.
Wow.
And it's like, what do you mean this is your seat? It's a public train. And when somebody else would pipe up, no, Bob sits there every day. Well, Bob better become a little more adaptable, shan't he? Because this is not going to happen. Yeah, it was. And of course, then I'm a punk high school kid, not old enough to drive. So I've got to, I do what Bob wants. I get up, I move. I'm not going to start a beef on the IC at, 7 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday when neither Bob nor I want to be on the train going downtown. So that was that.
That's the other thing. High schoolers can get on the Metro train. They go a group of friends. Hey, mom and dad, I'm going down, go downtown. Well, next thing you know, they're swiping on the Tinder and they match with somebody 2 stops down. And they go a couple stops. They say, all right, friends, have fun downtown in the city. And then they're taking pictures and selfies. And then they send them and then they send them and they say, hi, mom, look at all my friends out. Oh, I'm the one taking the picture. When in reality, they're Tinder hookupping and they're just like of any age. Everybody like 16 and up, everyone is just getting into.
I wish you had shared this theory with me before I took the train the other day.
It's again
might have spiced up my experience.
Overactive imagination of somebody that doesn't leave his house really ever.
I don't blame you. I would rather not, but I do. So where do you? I know you said you had many big stories.
No, that was it. I'm done.
The meatball in the subway were it?
Yeah, that was it.
That was what you had?
Yep.
All right.
Well, we'll talk about beer under the one reason why you would leave your house to go to a beer festival.
Yes. And it was, I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Let's just say that. I mentioned that we went. It was last week. It was the kickoff of Illinois Craft Beer Week, which is going on right now as we speak. We're in the middle of Illinois Craft Beer Week. Are you excited? Do you feel all the Twitter? It's very, very exciting.
There's one beer that I tried. There are 2 beers that I tried there that I really want to go buy. One's available now. One will be available next month.
Is the one available next month the pickle beer?
Hell yes.
Yes. All right. So let's start there. I can't remember the name of the brewery. I should have written it down. I have it downstairs.
Bunch of stickers. Let me grab.
I have a million stickers. Yeah, go grab your stickers.
One sec.
So there was this. You're walking around, and there were about 300 brewers there, all different breweries from all over the state, and they had it all broken up into regions. So Chicago, then Northern Illinois, and Central Illinois, and Southern Illinois. So we're walking around, and it's one of those where you can't really try everyone. I mean, you could, but that's 300 samples, or that's 300 breweries, and they all have at least 2 samples. So that'd be 600 little glasses of beer. And even I could not handle that many beers, nor could Cody, as we've noticed from the videos. But we're walking around, and Cody had gotten there a few minutes before I had because his train was on time and actually ran, and mine was not. So I get registered, and I said hi to our friend Kristen Tassi, who handles the PR for that. And I saw the old executive director who we talked to many times, Danielle. So I'm glad handing and saying hello. And I come downstairs and I don't see Cody right away. So I grab myself a Mexican lager from the first brewery I see. And then I find Cody and he tells me, oh, over here, we got to go over here because there was a beer I tried. And we go over and we try where he was. And then there is a lovely young lady standing with a middle-aged guy. And the middle-aged guy is kind of back, which was smart. He had the attractive young woman up front. And she looked lonely. Would you agree, Cody? She looked like she needed somebody to talk to.
I don't even remember this person.
You don't remember the young lady who had that beer? Anyway,
no, I'm just kidding.
This is a Central Illinois brewery, and Cody has it starts with a D, I remember.
Deadhead?
No, not Deadhead.
No.
My stickers are all downstairs.
Yeah, I've got them. Hold on, I'm just looking. I'm looking. I'm dropping my stickers.
And so I said, oh, tell me a little bit about the brewery. And the guy starts talking, and then he backs up, and the young woman is telling us this. And they have 2 offerings. One is a very hazy IPA, and the other one is a dill pickle sour. Now on the little table they have their cans, and they have a display with this dill pickle sour, and it's got Sucker Punch Bloody Mary mix and Sucker Punch pickles. And I'm like, oh, I get it. The pickles in the beer. Da, 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 da. And I usually abhor when it says sour. And it was we actually told this to the brewer. We go, oh, this is a misnomer. You shouldn't have called this a sour, because it's not sour like a Sour Patch Kid or a Sweet Tart. It's, well, would you agree, Cody? It tasted like a dill pickle.
It tasted, I can describe it in a minute, but it was delicious.
Yeah, it was really good. So I take a sip of this, and Cody takes a sip, and we're both like, we look at each other like, holy cow, that pickle beer is not bad. And the young lady's like, haha, I've hooked another couple suckers into the pickle beer vortex. And I'm like, haha, yes, you have. So then I say to her, I get into a whole big thing. I said, you know what would taste great with this? Because I'm trying to flaunt, I'm an old man who knows beer, trying to impress a young lady. I still have that, weird desire. And I'm like, hey, how about, said, have you ever thought of using this with that michelada mix? And she's like, that's exactly what I told them too. We got to make micheladas with this. And then Cody breaks out with the weirdest story about a pickle jar. One of these Sucker Punch pickles. I know you're still looking for the sticker.
I actually got their business card.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sucker Punch pickles are really good. And the second I see this table, before I even saw the beer, who was standing there or anything, I see the pickle jar with Sucker Punch pickles logo on it. Well, Sucker Punch pickles logo on it. I've probably got one. I pulled up I found the company actually with the drink. It doesn't matter. I don't have the logo, but my wife loves pickles and my son loves pickles. My 1.5-year-old son, and there is an empty Sucker Punch pickle jar on my kitchen table where my son's crayons are in it. So there's like 6 crayons in it. And last week, every day after a meal, he would reach for the jar or ask for the jar or whatever, and we'd give it to him and we'd open it and he'd dump out the crayons and then put the crayons back in the Sucker Punch pickle jar and then dump them back out. So Sucker Punch pickle jar has been part of my life like the whole week. And it's like my son's crayon jar. And all of a sudden we walk up and there's Sucker Punch pickles. And it's like, how oddly specific is that? Right?
It was very weird.
All the pickle brands. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, this is my son's pickle jar. And I did find the name of the brewery, by the way.
Is it Destihill?
Destill in Normal, Illinois.
Yes.
And Normal, Illinois, of course, this won't focus, but that's fine. Who cares?
It looks good.
Yeah, it's
Destill
Brewery in Normal, Illinois. And this is actually, I pulled up their Instagram.
They've got, so this beer is going to be available in June. He said before Father's Day. And I said, oh, then I got to get a bottle of that Sucker Punch michelada mix.
And that you're not going to be able to see anything there.
No, is it?
But it's on their Instagram
What's it called?
Their Instagram page is Sucker Punch.
No, what's the beer?
Well, their Instagram page is Sucker Punch Gourmet. The beer is called Dill Pickle Sour Beer. Dill Pickle Sour Beer. And dude, it is so good. I'm going to comment on Instagram, which I never do.
Really?
Yeah. Sampled this at Beer Under Glass.
Yeah.
In Chicago this weekend.
Loved it.
Oh my God. It was so good. I'm going to say OMG because I don't want to offend people.
Ah, okay.
I'm going.
Yeah, you don't want to throw people off. All right, I'm done looking too.
I'm going to rush to my nearest store to pick one up when it's available. 10/10 recommend. Favorite beer of the entire event, and I am not even kidding.
Wow, you are going crazy.
Yes.
You are going crazy. Throwing down the recommendation, the 10 out of 10.
It was my favorite.
It was the one that stood out the most to me.
100%.
Definitely the one that stood out the most. The one I remember. I had a lot of good ones, but that's the one, that's the one I could remember the name. I could remember the brewery, where it was. That one made an impact because we'll have to have our own little Michelada fest.
Yeah.
We'll get some of the dill. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It's funny. I was half right when I said the brewery was called Deadhead. What I didn't realize is I have the Deadhead IPA sticker.
I do as well.
Also from Distill Brewery.
Oh, that was the other one they had. That was the second beer that they were offering.
And I didn't try it because I don't care for IPAs. Did you try it?
No, because I said to as I was talking to the brewer, came up, I said, I don't mind IPAs, but I don't like real hoppy. He goes, then try the dill pickle one.
Yeah.
But I like how we gave him some marketing advice that he shouldn't have called it a sour.
Well, look, it doesn't matter. So you mentioned that you thought it would be good with a Michelada mix, which I do agree with.
Yes.
The way I would describe the beer itself is...
How would you?
If you've ever had a Michelada, which is a beer and essentially Bloody Mary mix, like a tomato juice mix, right? It's a little different,
right.
but Micheladas are the beer equivalent of a Bloody Mary. If you've ever had that, right? Usually like a light beer, like a Corona, and you get the kind of core beer flavor, but a lot of like the tomatoey kind of flavor also. I would describe this beer as it's like drinking a Michelada, but if you replaced tomato with pickle, because you still get that core, like, oh, this is a beer, and you've got the beer flavor underneath, but it is like it is overpowered by the pickle flavor, which in this case is really good. You know what I'm saying? Like the balance is quite good. Now,
the beer itself is kind of a lightish lager. I think. And then imagine if you took your favorite lager and you added some pickle juice to it. Yeah. That would kind of be the recipe, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I think for a refreshing summer beer, like if I'm grilling, I want to have this pickle beer. I will.
What will the people at Natty Light say?
Oh man, I've still got some natter days.
I
will have to see how many you can have.
I was just going to bring that up because yes, I would drink one by itself and enjoy it. I don't know if it could be a sessionable beer for me.
But I
don't know if I can, I love pickles. I can't eat a jar of pickles.
But you can drink a bottle of Bourbon County Stout, right?
Yes.
And then, the heavy, thick stouts, flavorful, malty, those are also kind of like, well, typically you couldn't drink a lot of them, but sometimes when they're good enough.
It's like a lot of the beers with the adjuncts, like even one we like a lot, Summerly. I can't drink a lot of them because of the sweetness. Any of those that have a few too many adjuncts, I can't. You can have one or two, like even, how much I love that bushel of apples from Phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
After a couple of those, 2 or 3, it's like, okay, I love the caramel and the apple flavor, and I love that beer, but I can't drink like 6 of them.
Oh, I don't think, and I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know if 6 would hold up, but I do think for sure 2 or 3. Like I think I could go through a few of these over time.
We'll see this summer when we're all sweaty.
I'm gonna test it. I seriously am on in the first week of June. I seriously am gonna go to Benny's specifically to get this beer. Like I am excited to get this beer and drink it and share it with people.
Very nice.
Really genuinely. So just hats off to it's Distill Brewery.
Yeah, they did a very nice job because again, it was definitely one that we remembered. The other one that is memorable for me because we actually waited in line for it was Workforce. Workforce was doing a special tapping at 7:00. They were doing a bourbon barrel-aged mint chocolate chip Sleepy Bear Imperial Stout, which was 12.5% alcohol. It was only, and we saw we saw the sign at about 5:30, and we're like, oh, that sounds on paper. That sounds great. We got to get back. So we get there. I don't know, 5 to 7 maybe. There were a couple people milling about in line, and we talked. I don't like people. And I'm not really, I'm trying to be more sociable. Oh, people at Beer Fest are friendly, most of them. We talked to a couple of brothers in line who were waiting to try this beer. There was a young lady who was waiting that we were talking to. And so that was fun. The waiting in line was fun. Teasing people who were trying to cut in line, and creating fake beefs. That was fun. But so we get there, and this was one that I think everybody, because you could see our review on one of the videos. The two brothers who were standing there stood around, and we talked to them too. The mint was really there. When you tasted this, you could really taste the mint, and it kind of overpowered the stout in a way that it didn't complement it, and I didn't get much chocolate flavor at all, other than a regular stout.
I think what's really tricky about calling anything a mint chip anything is that Girl Scout cookies own that flavor, right? Like, if you want anything in the world that says mint chip or mint chocolate, you want it to taste like the Girl Scout.
I want a thin mint. Yeah.
That's
I want
what
a
you
beer
want.
that tastes like Thin Mints.
There is no way any beer in the world could ever live up to that expectation or standard. So I just think that by the title itself, you're already overhyped, right? Like, it would have to be a 10 out of 10 beer to reach your standards. I thought it was quite good. I enjoyed it.
I didn't. Again, I would sit down and have one.
We did like it. Yeah, it's likable.
Yes, yeah, we didn't dislike it. It was just like I think because we waited in line and everybody was, it's a special tapping, and we were like, this is gonna be the best beer we've ever drank in our lives. This is unbelievable. That may have to the most unique, other than the dill pickle beer, would the collaboration between Goose Island and Microphone.
That is easily the number 2, and that is available now. And I'm gonna buy some also when I go to Binny's.
Microphone created a barley wine, and Goose has had a regular stout. There it is. Oh, I didn't see their sticker. That's a nice sticker.
Oh yeah,
that's a good sticker. And the gimmick is you can buy them in 2-packs, so you get a can of each one. And they said when you're drinking it, take some of each. Drink it separately, right? And then mix it together. Hello now. These were aged in Buffalo Trace barrels, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
I'm going to say that's correct.
But I will say the barley wine. I
can be proven wrong.
The barley wine was exceptional.
Yeah, from Microphone, that was really good.
And I drink a lot of barley wines from Revolution. So I'm used to good barley wines, and this one was out of the park. And the other one, the bourbon barrel-aged beer, was maple bourbon.
It was just a stout. It wasn't bourbon barrel-aged.
Sorry.
Just a maple stout.
It was a maple stout.
Right,
but the maple was just nice. And I've had maple beers from Revolution as well.
Sure.
But these were just very nice separately. And like
Ryan, it was a great stout. Their barrel-aged stuff, of course, we love. But this was nice because it was just a really good stout without that bourbon undertow that you get from the Bourbon County stuff.
Yeah, they actually had Bourbon County on tap if you went over to Goose Island, and they were serving the Proprietor's Blend from this year and the 20 or the 14. Remember?
Yeah, that was like one of the big ones. I didn't even see them.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, sorry. The first thing I did was go to Goose and get some Proprietor.
Oh, man.
But I'll be honest, I liked this Goose beer. I liked the Goose Island barley wine.
The maple stout.
And I like the barley wine and the maple stout better than the prop blend.
Really?
Yes. Like, the prop was not the highlight of my day, and I had a Proprietor's Blend from Goose. Like, that's
that was a great combination when you mixed them together. And we got to see one of the brewers who was on with us last year for BCS. So we talked to him and saw some other people. I liked the venue. How'd you like Union Station?
I mean, it's awesome.
It's in the grand thing. I loved it. I used to like it a lot at Garfield Park, but I'm glad at the conservatory. I'm glad we weren't outside Friday because it was like 98 degrees. And last summer when they did beer under glass, it was that hot outside and it was miserable. Like you couldn't even drink. They'd give you the sample, it'd be warm like in a second. You got to after a couple beers, I was like, it's too hot to drink. Not the beer, just the environment. I can't, if I'm that warm, I can't, all I want is, the lightest beer to just hammer down. There were some really good Mexican lagers there. There were it was great. So we had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time.
I had a very good time. It was my first beer under glass. I enjoyed it quite a lot. And it's not to say I didn't enjoy a lot of the beers. But like I don't think I found many like new favorites.
Right.
But being able to explore and taste and try, like there was a brewer with a blue Kolsch.
Yes, that was strange. It tasted good, but it looked like something out of a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
And it didn't taste blue. It was as blue as your background.
Yeah, there was some kind of Japanese flower or something.
Oh, yes, some Japanese flower or Japanese berry.
Yeah.
And when I asked what makes it blue, he said it to me like I was an idiot for not knowing. But it tasted really good. There weren't too many. There were only a couple where I was like, it's not for me. But that's always at a beer fest. That doesn't, I like this little brewery from Bloomington, Little Beaver. They were doing a whole big coconut thing the other day. So I had a few Little Beavers, different samplings. So they were really good. You see a lot of the same folks at the at all the fest. Yep, Little Beaver Brewery in Bloomington. Give them a shout out if you're ever down that way.
Hold on. We got to pause there for a second because they were the one that had the cinnamon mocha beer, right?
The cinnamon coconut mocha, yeah.
Cinnamon coconut mocha. That beer was insane.
That was so good. That was good. They had a coconut key lime pie or a coconut cream pie, and they had 4 coconut-based beers that they were only pouring for Bug. And yeah, the cinnamon coconut stout was really good.
The cinnamon coconut coffee one, I took a sip and I remember I was just like, I was like, wow. And then you just started laughing,
because you were like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, do you not like it?
Right. Good or bad. It's just like, hang on. I just need a minute to recover. And because like, it kind of smells a little bit like coffee, but you drink it and just the flavor just blasts you. Like there's so much. And I was just like, oh my God, I was not ready for this level of like coffee and everything else. And it was quite good, but yeah, I don't know how they packed so much flavor.
I don't know.
It was.
Last year they had a chocolate milk stout. You remember me telling you about this? It was the only stout Debbie ever drank that she was like, oh my God, it was like drinking a carton of Nestle's quick chocolate milk. So they always come up with something. They come up from Bloomington ready to put on their A game, and they always deliver. Yeah. So I'm a big fan. I've got to get to Bloomington. Maybe we'll go down and visit, State Farm or whatever's down in Bloomington, and go to Illinois State, and just drive around and then go to Little Beaver. All right. So we'll do that. But yeah, so that was it. Looking forward to it this week. There's all kinds of things. Again, if you go to illinoisbeer.org, you can see all the different events. Support your local breweries because they are the backbone of a lot of neighborhoods, and it's a lot of fun. We saw our good friend Paul from Flapjack. We saw a lot of people. We just saw a lot of people. It was great. Yeah. Oh, look at you. You got all the stickers. Saw Catherine from Exit Strategy. She was on the way out, and I had been looking. She didn't believe me when I said this. I'd been looking for them. I said to Cody, I got to go by and just say hello. I got to go say hello. And we never found them. And then she was leaving with her wagon. Like she was like a little kid leaving a beer picnic. She had stuff in her wagon that she was pulling away. We got to say hello then. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I look forward to it next year. I'm always looking forward to these kind of things. We'll have to find one over the summer and go again.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think, am I more of a Fobab guy? Because I love barrel-aged beers.
Yeah.
And because but they are both good, and I wouldn't have discovered that pickle beer, man.
That's the nice thing. At Fobab, everything is kind of at Bug, you have a million different styles. So that's what I like about Bug. What I like about Fobab is I love all the barrel aged stuff. Yeah. So that's they're two different things, And if you like both, and there's enough stouts and stuff at Bug, if you're just a stout guy, that you can get your fill. Tried a couple dark lagers, tried some smoke beers, some all different kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Good. So yeah, we'll have to find another one between now and Fobab, because Fobab's not till what, November? Can't wait.
I got to put that on my calendar now, or I'm gonna miss out, because man, my schedule's filling up for the year.
Filling up to already? That far in advance? How busy are you?
Dude, I've got 6 weddings this year.
Wow, you have too many friends. See, that's what's nice about not having friends.
This Wednesday, we're flying to Philadelphia.
Really?
Yeah, one of my wife's, one of the bridesmaids in our wedding is getting married in Philadelphia this weekend, and then we've got another wedding in June, and then 2 in September, 2 in October. That sounds right. Something like that. It's nuts. We're only flying for 2. All the rest are local. Thank goodness.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah. And a lot are family ones and child friendly. So we're actually going to,
okay.
We don't have to worry about
So the little man gets to put on his dressy kilt outfit and head to a wedding.
There is one adults only one locally. Maybe I'll call you up, see if you want to hang out with the kid.
Listen, the little man's always, but he's going to come over here. There might be TV on. It's not a threat. We might put on some child friendly TV. Breaking Bad or something.
You have Disney Plus?
Of course we do.
Well, Winnie the Pooh. We've been watching Winnie the Pooh with him.
Oh, okay. So he's getting a little bit of screen time. Tiny bit.
5-10 minutes a day just to get him acclimated.
Yeah, listen, when he's over here, he just wants to play with the Bow Wows. So he doesn't he's got blocks and Bow Wows. He doesn't really care about TV when he's here. He's got, we keep him busy.
Doctor's appointment today, 94th percentile for height. He's a giant.
It's too bad he's such a pipsqueak. That's a shame. Maybe that human growth hormone when he's in school, when he gets a little older, help him sprout up.
He's 20 months and he's wearing 3T clothing. So
and lifting up the car and cutting the grass.
Yeah.
Wow. No, he is always welcome. He is always welcome. So I said I would explain the reason why we weren't here last week. And I also said that it might trigger people. I don't want to. So if you get squeamish hearing about medical procedures, even in the way I tell them, you may want to be warned. Okay. Don't at me later. Go, when you told that story, maybe I was anxiety ridden. Well, then, sorry, that's the way it goes. So I had surgery a week to the day before we went to Bug. So you can tell where my priorities are. A week after, I was feeling okay, but I am now that old person who, whenever anybody comes around them, go, look out for my feet. Watch out! Don't step on my feet. Watch out for my feet, because I am in a surgical shoe, and I thought of this line later after I was a little buzzed and I came home and I was eating pizza with Debbie. One of the women who approached us to ask why we were recording ourselves, that you were talking about podcasts with, said to me, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And, I had a million things I could have said, but I stayed polite. I go, "Yes, of course. How personal?" She goes, "What happened to your foot?" And I said, "Well, I had surgery." What I should have said was, "Well, I broke it off in someone's ass." That's the answer from now on.
You didn't say that?
No, I didn't say that, and I wish I had. But now the next time anybody asks me what happened to your foot, I broke it off in someone's ass. That's going to be the answer. I think that's a good answer.
In my brain, translated it as you broke your foot off in someone's ass? Because I swear I've heard that before recently from you, but maybe not. I don't know.
I might have said it to you afterward, after I thought of it and went, oh, in a beer fog, I did not say it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
So the story is I had surgery. I have what can only be described as horrible feet, and it is genetic. On my mom's side, my mom's feet, and I've mentioned this before. And when I say they're a horror show, I am not exaggerating at all. When I was with her in the hospital last month or the month before, and the medical professionals had to take off her socks, there were audible gasps when they took off her socks because her toes are like over each other and they're clawed. It's really bad. And she came up in a time where, foot surgery was not advanced. And there were a lot of horror stories about people who had gone to have their feet fixed and they could never walk again. So she just never did. A couple years ago, you might remember, I had the second toes on each foot fixed because they were hammer toes. They were like clawed toes. This time, I went to a different doctor, which I'm finding the doctor I went to first must be, how would I say this, a quack. Because every time I relate tales of the last surgeries to my new doctor, he looks at me like, what did you do? What happened to you? Why did you do this? Like from the first time he saw me, he goes, well, they took a little more off of those two toes than I would have, but okay, we can work around it. I'm like, oh no. For reference, the last guy did all the procedures in the back room of his office, with the door partially open, and I'm not exaggerating, Debbie sitting in the lobby listening to the saw as he sawed through the bones in my toe. That was the last guy. So this guy, my third toe had started to really get messed up and was hitting and broken down, and my fourth toe was starting to curl under, and the second toe was starting to already come back up. So the guy's like, well, we definitely got to fix this third toe. And we're gonna have to put an implant in, and then we're gonna have to put a pin in the implant, and you're gonna have a pin sticking out for about a month. And then the morning of the surgery, I'm at the hospital. That's weird, right? Get an operation at a hospital. I'm used to doing it behind a dumpster outside of this guy's office in Berwyn. And they take me up to the emergency room, or not the emergency room, the pre-op, and they hook me up to antibiotic. Pre-procedure antibiotic. And the doctor comes, I said, oh man, I feel better already. I didn't get antibiotics. He goes, you didn't get antibiotics last time? I'm like, no, he didn't even prescribe them after the procedure. And the doctor's like, this is insane. He actually said that. This is insane.
He actually said that.
Yes, this is insane. And so then he's looking at my foot. He goes, okay, we're doing this on the toe. This is the third toe. We're gonna cut a tendon on the second toe so that it lays flat. Then we're gonna cut a tendon under the fourth toe so that it lays flat. But then we're gonna put a pin in that one too. And I'm like, oh boy, okay.
This episode is sponsored by your favorite true crime podcast.
Yeah. Oh, do we have a favorite? I have a. Oh no, it's not a podcast. I'm watching a show based on a true crime book.
That's not, wow, a show based on a book based on a podcast?
It's not, there's no podcast in that equation.
Why not?
Because I don't think I think they did the TV show instead of the podcast.
Well, now I hope they make it into a podcast.
I hope they do too, and I hope we host it.
You can continue.
Oh, thank you. I was waiting to see. So then he goes, what kind of music do you like? And I hate when anybody asks you that kind of question. Like if I said to you, Cody, what kind of music do you like?
EDM.
That's it? BDM? See?
EDM.
EDM, electronic dance music. Oh my God. If I were in an emergency room with EDM, I'd ask them to just put as much morphine in the IV as they can and don't bring me out of it.
Put on some Odessa radio, a little bit of Cannons. Let's go, dude.
See, because I like all different kinds of music. So I start listing things. And I go, I don't know, I like classic rock and country. I like blues. He goes, what do you like? I go, all right, classic rock. He goes, okay, I'll have it cranking up. And he did. He had it crank it when they rolled me into the operating room. And it was a full-blown operating room. There was a couple nurses. There were 3 doctors. There was all kinds of stuff. It was a legit operating room. It wasn't this guy in a back putting me on a lazy boy and then whacking into my toe with a hatchet. This was legit medical science. So, you like that analogy?
Yep.
You like that picture? So it's a great playlist. The rock is bumping. And I must have been tapping my foot when I first got in there to the music. It goes, no tapping your toes. All right. So they put up the partition so I can't see. And I'm like, man, that music is cranking. He goes, we don't want you to be able to hear anything. And I'm like, oh boy. Well, let me tell you this. I heard everything. They also heard the shriek of pain that I let out because they put local anesthetic in my foot. When they made the first incision, they hadn't put enough in there. So imagine feeling the scalpel cut across your foot. I yelled like like somebody had just sliced my foot open with a scalpel. I guess that's the best analogy I can give. That's exactly how I screamed. And they're like, oh my God, you felt that? I'm like, yeah. So they get more local, and then everything is fine. But then the saw starts. And there's no amount of AC/DC that will drown out a bone saw on your foot. I don't care if Bon Scott was sitting on my face playing a solo from the grave and Angus was dancing on my chest with a bass in his little schoolboy suit. I would have heard it. And I'm laying there and they have one of the OR nurses sitting right next to my head to make sure that I'm okay and that, I'm not losing my mind. And she's like, you hear that, don't you? And I'm like, yeah. So they had to cut a chunk out, then they open it up. Then they take an implant and they hammer it in on both sides. So then not only did I hear the bone, now I don't feel anything at this point. I'm just hearing stuff. But then I hear a hammer hitting my foot as they're driving this thing in on both sides. So imagine it's like a snap. So my toe's like this, then they put the thing, then they have to hammer it so the two things go together. Then they put in this metal pin. They put the metal pin in on the other ones. So then they're like, okay, we're all done. Are you okay? Right before that, the doctor had slid his chair up and he went, we're two toes down, 1 to go. Everything's going great. I'm like, fantastic. He goes back down. He goes to do something else. The anesthesia must have started to wear off a little bit on that toe. And I'm like, ah! They get more. Pain goes away. That's fine. So then, months ago, when we were scheduling this surgery, I said to him, listen, doctor, I know this is going to sound stupid, but I have a size 15 foot. And not surprisingly, the last time I had foot surgery, they did not have a surgical shoe that would fit me. So I ended up having to wear my Tevas to keep my foot protected. He goes, don't worry, we have extra large surgical shoes. I'm like, okay. So they take down the partition. They sit me up a little bit. I'm looking down, and now they're decorating the pins. It looks like they're hanging Christmas balls on the end of these 2 pins that are sticking out of my toes. They're like little rubber balls so that the pins don't catch on anything, and they'll absorb a little shock if something were to tap the end of the pin. Then it's time for the surgical shoe. And he reaches over and he takes one out, and I go, that's not going to fit my foot. And he's like, hold on. They take it out, and he goes, nope, that's not going to work. Let me call my office. And his office is right next door. Like there's the hospital, then there's the professional building. That's where he's at. And so he calls over. He goes, listen, I need you to go in the closet right now. Find out if we have an extra large surgical shoe. Not a large, an extra large. They must have said yes, because then he sent one of his med student who was observing the surgery, ran over, got the thing. So I come home and everything's fine. Have you ever been prescribed opioids for pain?
I don't think so.
I had not. And he asked me when he wrote the prescription, he goes, are you okay taking these? And I'm like, well, I watch Dope Sick. I know what's going to happen. Sure, I'm going to grind them up, snort them, and then I'm going to lose everything because I'm going to be an opioid addict. He's like, I don't think that's going to happen, but now I'm going to give you a smaller dose. Okay. So Debbie gets them for me, comes home, and they gave me like the smallest pill, 5 milligram, whatever, of narco. And I usually don't take pain meds because, I'm an idiot. And there's a perverse pride that I have in having a very high pain tolerance until, of course, someone slices across my foot with a scalpel. Right. And my pain tolerance drops. Well, I take the first dose, the one little pill, and now I take that pill as the local is wearing off. Dude, I was miserable. I'm trying not to whine because Debbie and Molly are there, and I got to try to keep some semblance of my manhood. But I'm sitting in the chair, and the dogs are looking like Lawson must have thought I was dying because every time I would wince, he would run over and put his head up on the chair, like next to me. I'm like, dude, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you. And then he'd go and he'd lay down. And I was like, oh, and he'd come running over and jump up on the chair again. So this is where I know this doctor's legit because they had given me a number, like a pager number, if something happened. So it was coming up on time for my second dose of medicine, and the pain was incredible. Worst pain I've had, I think. So Debbie pages him, and he calls right back, like in 2 minutes. And she's like, well, this is the situation. He's about ready for his second dose. The first one didn't do anything. Doctor goes, double it up. Give him 2 pills. Take him 2 pills every 6 hours. And then in the middle of that, take ibuprofen. Dude, the opioids are miracle drugs. I didn't feel like stoned or anything. The pain went away. I was able to sleep. I slept last weekend like I have not slept in years. Wow. Just, and I know that's because I know the drugs were responsible for that because I'd sleep like 12 hours. I'd get up. I'd go down, sit in the chair. We'd turn on a movie. I'd fall asleep for another couple hours. Then it was bedtime and I'd sleep for another 12 hours. It was insane. But I started going, well, I can't stay on these forever because they don't mess around. Like Debbie had to show ID and all kinds of stuff when she dropped it off. They had to call the doctor to double check. She had to go back. She had to be the one to pick it up. Like Molly couldn't go and pick it up after Debbie had dropped it off. They're really, as they should, because I can see, if you're in severe pain and you start taking them and then you get used to not being in any pain and you try to stop or you use them as they're not prescribed, like you see on all the shows where people grind them up and stuff. Yeah. So I don't worry about it. I take it all day Friday or Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm feeling good. And I'm like, well, I should probably start weaning myself off because I got to go back to work at some point. I can't enjoy an opioid fueled sleep for the rest of my life, even though I was rested as hell. It was fantastic. But I was also a little bit out of it. Like not so out of it because I was on a low dose, but out of it enough where, I would forget that I had said things.
You couldn't operate heavy machinery kind of thing.
Odd you should bring that up. I had rented a backhoe because I was digging my own pool, and I could not operate it.
Interesting.
I ended up swinging it around and taking off the roof of my neighbor's garage. Walter, I think, got scooped up in there. I don't know where he is now. Huh. Molly's upset with me because she can't find Walter. I'm like, maybe he's in that mound of dirt out back. So, I couldn't operate the heavy machinery.
Yeah.
So Sunday night at midnight, I took my last dose, or do you call it Monday morning at midnight? I don't know. And then my last double dose. Monday morning at 6:30, I took one last single pill, and then I was off. I went cold turkey, man. And I went back to school on Wednesday, went back to work, which is not, the principal was very nice. He met me at the door. He goes, how are you feeling? I go, okay. He goes, what can you do? I go, I can do pretty much anything. He goes, you have to sit down? I go, well, if I'm doing regular classroom stuff, I can sit down from time to time. I said, I can't go in preschool because 1, those kids never stop. And 2, they have no body awareness. And all I can envision every day when I'm at school, all I envision is some kids stamping on my foot. last Friday I was in first grade, and I'd been in this class before, and I go, listen, guys, you got to be really careful of Mr. Noonan's foot, because I was bringing him up to the carpet for a read aloud, because that's what I do, Cody. I read stories to the children. But they always like to be right on top of you, and I'm like, back up. I had them all sit down. I go, now everybody scoot back, and I'm going to pull my chair back here. I said, you can't step on my foot. And one kid goes, well, what if we step on it accidentally? I go, well, then you were too close to me, and we're going to have to deal with that if you step on it accidentally. I wanted to put the fear of God in him, Cody. I don't want some kid stamping on my foot.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the shoe for another 2.5 weeks. Hopefully this week the stitches come out, and then the pins will come out in another 2 weeks. And I said to him, how, because last week I had my first post-op appointment. Thank God I'm not a doctor, because he took the dressing off, and I'm like, ah! And he goes, this looks great. I'm like, are you high? You know how when they tie a roast with the string? That's how my third toe looked. It looked like a little pudgy roast. And it was all, and I'm like, oh, God. And I'm thinking, this is horrifying. And he's like, nope, this is fantastic. It is perfect. He's showing me the x-ray. Look at this x-ray. This was before. Look at this x-ray. This is the x-ray now. And you can see the pins in there. It's like, oh, man. Now, I couldn't tell Molly or Debbie any of this. Molly, I was telling her a little bit about what was going to happen like 2 days before. I can't hear this. I can't hear this. And I came home. She's like, how do you feel? I said, good. I just want to know that you're okay. I can't hear any details about it. And Debbie could take a little more, but not much. You know, I would say, oh, I could hear the sounds. And she's like, that's it. I'm done. I'll get your medicine. Are you okay? I'm like, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very squeamish.
Wow.
While me, I was like trying to see the monitor. I couldn't see the monitor, but see what they were up to. I would have liked to have taken a look.
Really?
When I got my knee scoped out years ago, I could see the monitor like as I was laid back, and then I was in like this when I was awake. When I had my knee done, I was in that kind of twilight sleep that they give you. But I could see the monitor. I could see them going into my knee and, grabbing stuff and pulling it out. I was like, oh, dude, that's my knee. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it. I can watch it on myself. Like I couldn't watch them do it to you.
Right.
I could hear you tell me that story. That would be fine. But I couldn't watch them do it to you. But if they're doing it to me, I'm like, okay. Again, that being said, till they make a slice on my foot with it. So now like I said, I'm panicked all the time that either the dogs get very excited when they see me. I'm afraid they're going to step on my foot. I'm afraid a kid's going to step on my foot. I was amazed no drunks stepped on my foot.
Why are you still at work? Just take a week off.
What am I going to do? School's almost over.
Watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Watch my kid.
No. I'm very fond. I'm very fond of your child, but he is a toddler, and he loves to run and throw stuff.
Yeah, but there's only one of him.
That's true. There's only one of him. But if it were he and I and the dogs just hanging around, I've got to be responsible for him.
That's fair.
Right. Unless Gidget just takes him out in the backyard. Gidget would watch him. Lawson could watch him some of the time. Because if he cried, Lawson would run over to him and let me know that there was an issue.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, but there were a couple people who asked why I went back to school last week. They're like, why did you come back? I thought you were going to take the whole week off. Again, it's a weird sense of like machismo, maybe. I can handle it. And I can't, because I'm not in pain. It's awkward. Every once in a while, there's a little twinge of pain. I've been pretty good about not. Lawson did jump on my foot yesterday. But he was all jazzed up.
So you didn't want to do a show on opioids last Tuesday?
No, I was still kind of in pain last Tuesday, and I was coming off the opioids. I was in withdrawal. I had the yips. I had the shakes. No, I didn't. Yeah, I was dope sick.
Well, I'm glad that you were no longer sick and were able to resume being a dope.
Correct.
On Friday. on Friday at Beer Under Glass at Chicago's Union Station Grand Central.
Well, that got that drew some suspicious comments from people I knew. You're going to a beer fest on your foot? Yeah. I said to Debbie, there'll be places to sit down.
There weren't.
The stairs, you could have sat in the stairs at Elliot Ness stopped the stroller from going down in the Untouchables.
Yeah, I mean, the more than that, like alcohol impedes your recovery process, right?
Oh, does it?
Well, it slows you down. You can't heal as fast.
Oh, why are you telling me this now?
It's my understanding. Maybe I made that up, but I'm pretty
you
sure.
You might have made it up.
I mean, athletes recover. Yeah. Because when I used to be really actually serious about exercise, which was a decade ago, you wouldn't. I mean, if I really wanted like to maximize my gains, I wouldn't drink in between workouts.
Yeah, but that's different.
Well, your body's recovering, so it's pretty much the same thing, actually. Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, alcohol consumption. I guess according to there's one thing I said. One thing I see: alcohol consumption adversely affects the process of wound healing. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
So I have to go a couple more days.
But yeah, right. It might have stalled you a day or two, depending. But whatever.
Hey, I walked around fine. I wasn't in pain there.
No, you walked around great.
Walked around just fine.
And
it was dandy.
Yeah. Well, I wish
now the problem is only my left shoe is getting wear. So in another month, when I can wear both my shoes, my left shoe is going to be a little more worn out.
You don't have like you don't keep old pairs of shoes around?
I do have old pairs of shoes. That's a good idea. I'm wearing this one because it's better support and more stability. Usually I keep the old ones for yard work, but I'll see. That's a good idea.
Right.
Maybe I'll try tomorrow.
Yard work. Hey man.
Oh, dude. This is how stupid I am. What do you think I did Saturday?
Don't tell me you mowed the lawn.
All right, I won't tell you. I'll tell you I used the edger, the weed whacker.
Wait, you mowed the lawn while you were on opioids?
No, I was off the opioid. This was the day after the beer fest.
Oh, no, right.
No, I didn't. Whatever. No. The weekend, listen, you would have been proud of me. The weekend of the surgery, up until Wednesday when I went back to work, I followed the doctor's orders implicitly. I stayed in the chair. I stayed off my feet. I still had a couple like cast covers so I could take a shower and keep everything dry. Took my medicine. I was, the first alcohol I had was when we went to the beer fest. So sweet. I was very, very good about following the rules.
Awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, I slept like I've never slept before. But now this Saturday, the grass is this. I know it's the season where the grass grows a lot. And it was really tall because I had cut it the Wednesday before so it had been a week and a half since I cut the grass. And it was really tall. And I'm like, oh, I got to cut the grass. And Debbie's like, you can't cut the grass. I was like, yeah, I can. She goes, you got to keep your foot dry. I said, well, it hasn't rained. No, Marta, no one will help me. I've alienated pretty much everybody in my life, except for Cody. And I don't know why he and Debbie stay around, but they both do. So I'm glad of that. I said, well, it hasn't rained, so the grass is going to be dry. It'll be no big deal. And I'll put on some old socks and I'll put on my sandals. And I'm not going to use my surgical shoe because then it'll get grass on it. So I'm thinking ahead. I'm about halfway through and the grass underneath was soaking wet. And I'm like trying to walk on my heel because I had to cut the back 3 times because it was so thick. I had to go once, then I had to drop it to another level, then I had to go over that level again. So by the time I'm done, thankfully, the only toe that got wet on my surgical foot was my big toe, which doesn't have any wrapping on it or anything. Now it was just stained green from the grass juice soaking through my sock. And then, but again, it got done. no harm, no foul. You know, what am I going to do? Live in squalor? I can't let my backyard look like Little House on the Prairie. I got to cut it. Mike, that is, you laugh, Mike. I'm guessing that you laugh. Put on some rubbers. I have, from the last time I had surgery, big black rubber galoshes. You know, the kind, you might be too young, Cody, with the metal buckles that you used to wear in the winter before they were actually really good boots. They're just rubber galoshes that go on over your shoe, and they have metal buckles. And those used to be like our winter boots. Your mom would put bread bags over your shoes. You'd slide them into these boots, and that was it. And your feet would freeze, but they were waterproof. So last time I had this surgery out behind the dumpster at the old place, it was the winter time. So it was snowing and stuff, and I bought these galoshes that would go on over the surgical shoes. And they have them. I was going to wear those the other day to cut the grass, but then I thought, it's 95 degrees out. The sweat and humidity is going to make my foot way wetter than anything that could happen in the grass.
That's true.
Because that was science, Cody. I thought you would enjoy that, because that was humidity and absorption and dew points and all kinds of stuff that I put into that thought.
And maybe a little more biology than I needed to think about. But I like where your head is at.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? If my foot is encased in non-porous rubber, it's like one of those wrestling guys who drop weight by putting on garbage bags.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Wow. So yeah, I cut the grass on Saturday. Back to I gotta get back. I can't just loll about. I got work to do. I got things to do. I gotta get moving. Wow.
Well,
plus then if I see, here's the thing. I'm a horrible patient. I don't know how good you are. Are you good when you're sick? Like, will you let your lovely bride attend to you?
Yeah.
I don't.
Why would you not milk that?
Well, because I'm mentally impaired. Here's the thing.
Okay.
I believe, and that's probably the most honest thing I've ever said. I think that if you're a caretaker, you should be able to anticipate somebody else's needs, which is completely irrational. I know that. But I think I shouldn't have to, if I'm sick, I shouldn't have to ask for something. Someone should just know that I need it.
Yeah.
Which, again, I will capitulate to the fact that is completely irrational. But I can only fix one loose screw at a time. I've got a few tightened down, got the torque wrench in there, but there's still a few rattling around in there that need to be taken care of. And that's one of them. So I'm a horrible patient. Plus, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to look like I'm a baby. I want to be, like I said, I stayed in the chair, and if Debbie asked if she could get me something, I would say yes. I didn't, or if, I'd set my alarm for my medicine, and if she was there, if it wasn't sitting next to me, I'd let her bring me my medicine and stuff. But I'm not going to, come give me a sponge bath. If I get to the point where I can't do stuff for myself, that's when you just take me out to a field and hit me in the back of the head with a shovel. That's it, So
well,
that's me. So I'm not a good patient, but I did do everything I was supposed to do. But that's why I get up and I do the stuff I do.
Yeah, at least you were following the doctor's orders. That's the most important part. So.
It wasn't, I didn't do anything crazy till after I had gone for my first post-op appointment.
Of course.
Once he told me that my chuck roast toe looked great to him, I was like, well, then I'm on the road to recovery, baby. Let's get out there. Let's get out in that backyard. That grass needs cutting. I can't be sitting around all day. Then I better take this laundry down to the basement. And Debbie's like, I'll take it. Now, the first weekend, I let Molly carry all the baskets down and, Debbie do the laundry, but I usually do the laundry. So, I did the laundry.
The sacrifices you make letting other people do the laundry.
I don't want it. No, they don't do it the right way.
Right.
The way I want it. It's, it's easier this way. I did. This is how I milked it. So the Saturday, the weekend of the surgery, Molly had been there Friday and she was coming back Sunday because it was Mother's Day. What, Tim? So what Frank's saying is that he's a woman. What does that mean? Oh, that I just keep doing stuff no matter how hurt I am? Yeah, that's right. I'll step up. Debbie was like, well, what can, and so I did throw on my sick voice a little bit. She was talking about dinner and I go, oh, maybe you can make chicken and rice. And she was like, okay. So she went and made chicken and rice. I was like, haha, it worked. She makes the best chicken and rice. I don't know what it is. I love it. It's phenomenal.
What kind of chicken and rice?
What do you mean? It's like it usually when she started, it was her mom's recipe and there was the rice stuff. And then she just put chicken breasts on top of it. Now she cuts the chicken into chunks and mixes it all together. So it's like and then it bakes in a pan.
I need that recipe immediately.
Yes, you do. Cause it is phenomenal.
Well, I'm going to go on a 12-week chicken and rice lunch diet.
Oh, so, well, this has cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup in it.
That's not going to help.
Beef consomme. Right, no, this is not real healthy chicken and rice.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's delicious, which is why it's not. Yeah. It's got cream of chicken soup, beef consomme, chicken, rice. Then there's like a little lemon thing poured on top. Oh man, dude, forget it. So that was my comfort food. That was my sick boy. That was as much as I gave in to go. I thought, maybe you can make the chicken and rice.
There you go.
She said I'm gonna go to the store and get something. Is there anything? Oh, I see. Tim is saying that I just expect my loved ones to intuit my needs. No, listen, here's the thing, Tim. They've known me for a long time. Molly's known me literally her whole life. Debbie's known me well over 30 years. I'm pretty simple. That's the other thing. I'm not that complicated. I am, when I'm in pain, I want to be left completely alone because I know I can muscle through it, but I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to be nice,
right?
And if somebody's trying to help me, I have to be nice. If I'm all by myself, I could be, swearing and cursing at myself and, shaking my fist at the heavens. But if somebody's trying to be nice to me, I have to be nice to them. And sometimes you don't want to have to be nice. Sometimes you want to be miserable, for like 58 years. And then
speaking of chicken and rice,
Martha, what do you got?
If I looked at the America's Test Kitchen video that she sent about cooking rice, it's still open in my browser and I'm going to watch it. But life just happened.
So is this for a shred or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna get on a workout plan soon that I don't want to get into right now. But I'm just gonna need to take better care of myself. And my brother again kind of mentioned chicken and rice is what he has for lunch, and he has a healthy breakfast. I always have a very healthy breakfast. It's always just eggs, basically straight protein. Occasionally some plain low-fat Greek yogurt with like some fruit maybe, but nothing unhealthy. I mean, I don't even like. I was having cinnamon raisin bread because my son has that, and I was having Eggo's homestyle waffles because they're amazing,
delicious.
But, like, cutting all of the carbs out, those carbs, right? Those carbs and everything else. But so anyway, Marta, it's on my browser, and I will watch it this week. But we're traveling this week, so I'm leaving town.
You're going to have a cheesesteak this weekend. You know it.
Probably. So
if you don't have a cheesesteak in Philly, you're a communist.
Well, I'm going to see my uncle when I'm in Philadelphia. And then we're going to this wedding, I think in Delaware, technically. And then next weekend, I'm flying up to Minneapolis for my nerd weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the next like, pre-June, I'm here like 5 more days, actually, over the next like 2 weeks. So
not that many days left in this month.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not going to stock the fridge for those days and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll be in the routine in a couple weeks. Yeah. So, I'll watch it in the next couple weeks. And
so does he just eat like a chicken breast and some white rice, or
my son eats?
Your brother. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a chicken breast and white jasmine rice. And he gave me all these reasons why jasmine rice is the way to go. Cause I was like, what about brown rice? And he had some reasons that I forget, but I'll confirm them with him. But
so you're gonna get swole? You getting swole again?
Me, I hope so. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it much because
let's not do it.
Gonna screw it up.
No, I understand.
And I don't want.
Well, good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you. And Mike asked Gen Con this year. Yes, Gen Con is happening this year in August. So my year is insane, Brian. Like, it's insane.
You have work stuff scheduled in the fall already?
No, Gen Con.
Well, I know Gen Con's in August, but you said a year. Like that's one weekend in August and a bunch of weddings.
No, my year's insane. No,
you said
all
your
right.
year is insane.
Yeah. First weekend in June, I'm going to
You have weddings. You have a bunch of weddings.
June, I've got I've got Milwaukee Highland Games, Scottish Highland Games, flying to Boston to see Paul McCartney, a cousin's bachelor party, then a wedding, then like one weekend off. And then July is actually pretty good. But then August, bachelor party, Gen Con, wedding at Martha's Vineyard, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, you got to get yourself a linen suit and go like the Great Gatsby.
Yeah. Then a free weekend, then a bridal shower, then a wedding, then a baby
Why do you have
shower.
to go to a bridal shower?
That's a whole story.
Okay.
Then a bachelor party, then a wedding, and then a couple weeks later a wedding, and then something else. It's insane. It's like half my weekends this year are literally booked already, which is why I need Phobab to put their dates down because like clock's ticking. Clock's ticking. It's just too much. It's just one of those years, Brian. 2022. Good night, Tom. Thanks for watching. You should always go to bed when you're tired. I'm tired.
You definitely have to go when you're tired.
We are actually going to sign off, I think.
Yes, we're gonna get. I was just looking up real quick. No, we don't have any. They're just doing submissions for Phobab.
Yeah, I looked. I checked earlier in the show. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not allowing myself to talk about any of the.
No, listen. We love all the secrecy that you're all about. We love that. We love that.
You know how I am. I feel like if I talk about it, I'm going to end up talking more about it than actually doing anything about it. And so,
dude, if you remember back in the day, I never talked about all the weight loss until it was way, way into it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I get you. I'm down with that. 100%. So yeah, it's been an exciting couple of weeks for both of us. So when will you be back? Are you going to be back next week?
Yeah, the plan is to do the show next week. Although the way work's been going, that'll be a game time decision.
Yeah, well, we can change nights or whatever.
Plans for next week. I might talk to you about maybe moving this whole show to Monday.
Okay.
Just because Mondays I'm just less.
Well, that would be fine.
But you're free Mondays.
Yeah. For the yes. Yeah.
All right. Hate to throw up the schedule for you audience, but throw in the chat. What do you think? Is Monday gonna ruin your week? I think Monday might work a little better because
if it'll work better for you, and we can. Because listen, once we do this for the people who want to watch us because you love looking at our mugs, but the audio is going to be the same. And I'm going to talk to Cody, and we still got to get a song. We got to get a theme. And then maybe dress it up a little bit. But I will say, I want to thank everybody who's listening and spreading the word, because I told Cody how many people are listening to each episode. And I realize it's not a huge number, but you said in the podcast world, it was okay.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I literally thought 30 people listen, and it's significantly more. So I was like, wow, that's awesome. Thank you for telling friends.
Yes, thank you for telling your friends and doing it. And we'll, I'm going to try to make some audio improvements on it. So to reward you for putting in the time, we'll put a little more into it to get it going. But, thanks to everybody for tell people, and we appreciate it. And that made me very happy just to hear, listen, we're not knocking Joe Rogan out of the arena or Mark Maron or the old Curiosity Daily podcast. We can destroy the new one, but the old one, but it's good, and people are enjoying it. So we thank you for that.
Yeah, dude. That's that. Imagine if one person told if every listener told one person every week about the show. We double in size every week.
Bang, bang, bang. We just keep growing. That's math right there.
Yeah, dude, math.
That's math.
Let's
We love
do it.
math. All right. Well, next all you got to do is keep watching the Facebook page. We'll let you know if there's any changes to the schedule. You can always, no matter what day we record it, you'll always be able to get it on all your favorite podcast platforms. So that'll be good. I like that you've been tweeting some extra things. I love the meme that you tweeted, was it yesterday or today, about internet arguments. I enjoyed that very much. So follow Cody on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. You can do that right here. Check out those addresses on Twitter.
I love that Mike transcribed me saying bye.
Yes. Don't forget to listen to me Saturday on WTMJ and have a great time in Philadelphia. We went there for a wedding. My brother Dennis got married in Philadelphia. So enjoy visiting your uncle and seeing everybody, and have a cheesesteak. Give 2 cheesesteaks to your son, because he needs to. You got to feed him so he grows, Cody. If you don't feed him, he's going to stay a twerp forever.
Yeah, only 94th percentile. That's 6% of room for improvement.
6% of the kids are bigger than him. You going to let that stand?
Nope.
No. You're either first or you're last, if I can quote Ricky Bobby. And I think I just did. I want you to wake up every day and piss excellence. All right? There we go. Have a great night. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling friends. Thanks for following us. I'm good, Cody.
Bye.